Small business owners are the next in the long line of people who are getting their health insurance policies canceled. That's right. You knew about the nearly 4.5 million Americans getting their coverage canceled in the individual market, but now experts telling us the exact same thing will happen to companies employing 50 people or less. Here to weigh in, Dr. Sreedhar Potarazu, the CEO of Vital Springs Technology, and cardiologist Dr. Kevin Campbell. Dr. P, I got to tell you, this is really concerning to me. I mean, I thought it was just the 4.3 million people in the individual market, but now we're hearing millions and millions of Americans will have their insurance policies canceled later this year. What do you say?
No surprises. As a small business owner sitting here today in the insurance capital of the world, Hartford, Connecticut, it's really concerning that we're going to be the next ones to be affected in terms of how we're going to provide insurance for our employees, and that we could very well have insurance dropped and we're not going to have a place to go. Costs have already gone up for small businesses in terms of premiums, and it's quite frightening to think that that's even a possibility.
It's frightening to think that's a possibility. Dr. K, I have to tell you, it seems to me, I mean, standing back and looking at all the facts that are assembling themselves, we had news today that the catastrophic market's falling apart too. And some predictions that even if you work for a big employer, you could have problems as well. Is the insurance market falling apart?
I'm very concerned about that because I think ultimately it's going to be more cost effective for insurers to drop everyone and put everyone into the marketplace. However, I think this issue with small businesses is going to become an enormous midterm election issue for particularly the Democrats in the Senate, because they're going to find small businesses and their individual employees being canceled right around November of 2014 is when those elections are going to be happening, and that's when those notices are going out.
I'm laughing, but it's not funny, Dr. P. I mean, you said first, well, it's no surprise. I got to tell you, it's a big surprise when you get the letter in the mail and suddenly you don't have coverage. What happens? I mean, what other kinds of effects are there out there? I mean, you know, the president keeps saying, oh, well, you can go and get other coverage. You can go on the website, but you can't do that right now.
Well, let's look at Edie from the Wall Street Journal this week.
Right.
In terms of her coverage being dropped. Somebody with terminal cancer who's actually okay right now. But several months ago, the president touted the state of California as being a model for how insurance was working. Yet, in fact, insurance companies like United Healthcare have decided to exit the market because they said they don't have enough business there. But the reality is that only a very small number of companies were allowed to participate in the exchanges. So the mechanics of how these marketplaces are working is at a complete disadvantage to insurance companies, who have now woken up in the last 4 weeks and recognize that the risk pool of people that they're now insuring are probably much sicker than they had anticipated. And the young people whom they were banking on to pay more are actually not going to be able to show up, or probably will never show up.
Well, I have to tell you, to me, from afar, and believe me, you know, I work at Fox. I have coverage. I'm not worried about it right now. But I know in houses all across the country, people are really disturbed about this, very upset, and they're sounding off. I want to show you some video from a social media website called Tumblr. Take a look at this. People are posting their cancellation notices en masse by the hundreds on the social media site. Take a look at this. MyCancellation.com is what the page is called, and they're pouring in. Dr. K, have you heard from people, patients of yours, who are saying, wow, you know, I'd love to come in for that MRI, I'd love to come in for some kind of procedure, but right now I don't really have coverage?
My patients are very, very frightened. In fact, lots of my patients are saying, I want anything that needs to happen to me this year, I want it done as soon as possible. My clinic is backed up. I have lots of waiting lists for procedures for patients because they are very frightened about dropping coverage, and they want to make sure that they're allowed to see their doctor of choice and get the procedures done that they need.
Wow, you know, that's fascinating, and it probably makes all the sense in the world to start getting stuff done right away. Now, okay, lots of complaints out there, but we have to lighten this up. Hear what happened at the CMAs last night. Listen to this.
Obamacare by morning.
Why is this taking so long? So long.
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna wind up with hemorrhoids if I sit here till dawn.
Apologies to Amarillo and George Strait. Dr. K, I thought that was, what was so interesting, everybody was shocked that they made fun of Obamacare in prime time, right? I mean, it was just a big punch in the gut to Obamacare. And how did you react to it, frankly?
Well, I thought it was hysterical. I thought it was very funny. And the thing that really impressed me is, typically the folks in Hollywood and the actors and the music business tend to be of the more liberal bent. And now some of his biggest supporters for both elections are making fun of him on national TV. And I think that it's very, very telling. I think the average American is waking up and saying, we've been sold a bill of goods that is not what we were promised. And we're not happy about it.
Dr. P, last word.
It's great content for SNL and for the music awards, but the reality is that every week we're seeing more dominoes fall. They've got an uphill battle. Fixing the website is not going to fix everything. We know that.
Right.
And it's only going to be the tip of the iceberg. And if you look at the young adults on the cover of USA Today in terms of the mental health issues and how much they're really going to cost, we're going to find stories every week that talk about what Obamacare is really about. And there's going to be a lot more to report on.
Well, we have a ton more we could have covered tonight. I could keep you guys all hour. I have an infinite interest in Obamacare, as you know. Great panel. Thank you so much, Dr. P and Dr. Campbell,
Thank you
for coming on tonight.
Thanks for having
really
us.
great job. Thank you so much.